listen.
Hey everybody, it's Billy here. Just finally getting around to making that tutorial video. I'm not exactly sure how many videos it's going to be, but we'll figure that part out. But let's get right to it. So over here, as you can see, this is generally what every game start looks like. The Titan will not be spawned yet, but this is just for the sake of demonstration. So you have the insertion dropship, that's where you choose your character. If you are a builder, he'll be right here at gold. Now you probably noticed the parasite in the bottom right. We're just going to ignore it and pretend it's not there because I'm using the debug menu. So just for testing purposes. So there are 10 builder characters you can choose. Easiest ones you want to pick, Marine, Zealot, and Zergling. Now High Templar, you can do that too, but we're going to get to that later. Just the basics. So Marine, as you can see, he has a stim, so you can escape with that. So you can press T for stim. The Zealot, same principle, he has charge. So you can use charge. You can also use the hallucination to scout and pick up wood pallets. Pretty useful. And the Zergling, just by default, extremely fast. Look at that. Default. He has 4 move speed, and that's the same as every Titan in the game, if they're not using spells. Alright, so the game just started, you picked your character, it happens to be Marine, and you want to get out of there. The first thing you do, if you have a character with some kind of speed boost, so Marine, you can use stim. First thing you want to do is go to wherever you want to go. So for this demonstration, I'm going to go over here. This is known as the waterfall base, since it has a waterfall here and here. So I'm going to go there and use my stim immediately, because the reasoning is by the time the cooldown is over, the Titan would have already spawned and you'll be safe. So we're going to go all the way here to the waterfall base. So when you make your wood structures, you want to make sure there's one tile away. So you don't want to do this because then there's going to be a few trees that are inaccessible. So you always want to make sure you're at least one away. So we're going to put one over here, but you do not want to have them side by side, since if you get nuked, then you're kind of stuck there and you're going to lose all your workers. You don't want to have a one tile because same concept. They're just going to body block each other. So we want to make sure there's plenty of excess room. So we're going to put this in the middle here. Same concept. We're going to move a little bit over, but oh, can't put over here. There's one hex tile on the diagonal. So the rule of being one away does not apply to diagonals, because of that's the Starcraft engine. You can still access those units and buildings diagonally from you. So we're going to put it over here. And for the final one, because we want to get as much wood coverage as possible, we're going to go down here. Now we're going to want to put it in the middle. That way everything is equidistant. So we could put it here, but then the workers in the bot right are going to have to travel far. So we don't want that. We're going to put them over here. The next step, we're going to rally everything directly in front of it, just like that. Before you make any workers, in the top left corner, under settings, now I already did this a long time ago, but for you, auto-hotkey units should be checked. What you want to do is uncheck all of this, uncheck everything. I usually keep teleport follow on and space center off. I like to keep space center off in case I'm under attack. I can press spacebar and quickly det my stuff. So we're going to uncheck all these auto-hotkey things. That way you can have it exactly how you want it. Alright, the next step, we're going to hotkey our buildings over here. Let's make some workers. The hotkey by default will be W, so we're going to hold that down. We're supply blocked, so we're going to put our supply right here. So for most characters, 6 supply buildings is the default max. You can make more than 6, but there is no benefit whatsoever. So 150 supply is max supply in this game. We're going to get as many workers as we can. We're not going to worry about detting the buildings and stuff right now. That's for a later video. So we're going to go over here. We have 100 wood. Now we could use one wall, but the Titan will kill it pretty fast, and you're going to get your worker line nuked. It's not worth it. So we're going to make 2 walls. Now, if you're not confident in your abilities, you could make 3 if you want. For this demonstration, I'm only going to use 2. So we have 2 walls here. So if the Titan could theoretically come up here, kill the first wall, kill the second wall, by the time the Titan's over here, your workers should already be detonated. Alright, so that's your basic wood-based layout. But, you know, we can go to another place. Let's try over here. So it doesn't matter where you wood base, as long as it's in a, like a normal spot. Usually they have ramps. You don't want a wood base, like, out in the middle of nowhere. So same concept. There's a tree here and a tree there. So we're going to go 1 off. You can go over here. We're going to go 1 off. So we're going to go here. There's some trees here. We're going to go 1 off. Same concept. We're going to make all these workers here. we're going to put our supply over here. It will be 6 supply, always 6 supply. Now for this base, you want to put your walls over here. 2 walls. The Titan can only travel in 2x2s, not 1x1s, so that should be good. Now you're probably thinking, for those of more experienced players, well Billy, you can get pretty much blind nuked over here and here. And you're right. So to mitigate that, we need to make some extra walls. So we're going to put a wall out here. We're going to get all the entrances to get ourselves a little bit more breathing room. So this one's a little weird. You have to go like 1 tile off. See? So that one's a little weird. We're going to go here. And one over here by this arch. So if you look at the mini-map, you can see all these green dots over here. You can see how the green dots kind of surrounds your wood base. So that's what it should look like if you've done it correctly. So if the Titan goes here, you can see it and det. The Titan goes here, you can det here, here, or here. Doesn't matter. Every entrance into your base has been sealed. So there is 0 chance the Titan can get your feed as long as you do it correctly. Now, for the supply buildings, however, you're probably thinking, well, this is all preference. You can kill all your supply buildings. As soon as you have max worker count, you can kill all your supply buildings. It truly does not matter. So we're gonna kill them all. This is generally the safest tactic if you don't trust in your abilities. You can just det all your stuff. That way if the Titan comes, so let's say we're gonna spawn, let's say Titan. This will generally be about the vision you get from the wall right here. So you're not gonna see Titan until he's over here. So what you could do, so we're going to pretend the Marine is somewhere else. Your Marine is not here, does not matter. So the Titan's killing your stuff. You have to select your workers. Right when it kills that wall. Now, later as the game goes, the Titan will be able to nuke some of your stuff because he's too strong. But this is just for demonstration's sake. So the workers are gone. No losses here. No losses here. I probably skipped the detting portion, so we're going to get back into that. So I'm going to go back to this space over here. So we're going to go to the detting portion. So we're going to make all these workers here. So let's say your max supply. Let's pretend the Titan's coming through the front door. Okay, so this is all preference. There is no right or wrong answer here. As long as you have everything det before the Titan comes, that's the only thing that matters. Some people hotkey their workers, so I'm gonna put them in a control group. Some people like control grouping them. I personally don't, but that's all up to you. There's different methods. So the Titan could be coming up. So you see the Titan, so you hit your control group, press D. As soon as he comes up here, they're all gonna be dead. Just like that. Let's try that one more time. Now there's another method. This is the method I use. I use kind of like the box method. If you ever do a 1v1 ladder and there's like Marine splits, Zergling splits, Baneling splits, then you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. If it works for you, as long as you deny him feed, that's the only thing that matters. There is no correct way. As long as you deny feed, that's all that matters. So we're at max supply of workers. And let's say Case is coming up again. It's like, oh, box D, box D. Uh-oh. There you go. So for this method, sometimes when you box, it might select your buildings by accident. What I do to be extra safe, so I'll box one area and then I'll press Tab D, Tab D, Tab D, Tab D, Tab D. So it's gonna look like that. Same thing here. I box, Tab D, Tab D, Tab D. That way, if there's any other buildings or units in there, it doesn't matter. I'm still detting all my workers. That's really the gist of worker detting. Now next thing, this is generally how I do it, and some other players. It's all preference. So you can either once you're max worker supply, you can pre-det your buildings, or you can just full det them. That's really up to you. It doesn't matter. I like to pre-det them because it gives me something to do. So we're gonna pre-det them. Now this might be a little bit more difficult to handle. Oh, he can't reach it. That's okay. That's good. All right. So the reasoning behind this, as soon as the Titan's coming, you have to select all. You have to Q command. That way they kill them. So it's pretty simple. So I'm gonna pre-det these just for demonstration's sake. So the hardest part about when you have your buildings pre-det and the Titan's coming, the hardest part is killing the last 2 supply buildings. Sometimes the projectile will bug out so that one of the buildings, if they're in the corner, they won't actually hit the other building. So to mitigate that, you have to kill the buildings in the corners sometimes first. The hardest part though, you have to very quickly attack the other one and you have to very quickly select the other one and attack. So it's going to look like this. So that's what it should look like. That's probably the most difficult part about pre-detting. So our next topic is going to be wall walking. You know, this is always a good refresher. And if you're one of the veterans out there, maybe you'll learn something new. Who knows? So wall walking, super simple concept. It's just like on Warcraft 3, but it's a lot easier on Starcraft 2 because it's more fast-paced. The unit collision isn't hell, so it's much easier. So wall walking is like this, and it also works in 1v1 and other stuff too. Not as effectively, but it still works. So for this demonstration, you're not moving. If I were to build a building over here, it's going to push me in that direction. So my Marine moved just a little bit. If I make it up here, he's going to move south. And as long as your body is across the 50% line, he's going to move in that direction. So I'm going to move south. See? I move south. If I make it over here, I'm going to move to the left. See? Very simple. When you're in motion, you have to kind of predict where you're going to be before you wall walk. So if I go here, so let's say if the Titan is chasing me from the gold, so I'm going to just for demonstration's sake. So if the Titan is chasing me, so that's what it should look like. Now, but you're not always going to have the luxury of being stationary. For all we know, he could be chasing you. So you're going to have to do it like that. Now, if they're a bad Titan, they're going to path backwards if they're focus attacking you. See, they don't have vision of the wall, so they have to go all the way around. But that's for a later video. So you're not always going to be stationary. Sometimes you have to be moving. So like, let's say if I'm going up here, while you're running and doing it, you have to predict where you're going to be, and you have to time it just right. That way the wall is behind you, never in front of you, because there will be situations where, like, if you're running through an exact 2x2, if I were running here from the Titan and then I mess up on my wall and I do that, I'm dead. So I have to always make sure that it's behind me, never in front of me. So if I'm running like here, I want to make sure that happens. That way the wall's behind me. Now the way you do it, if you're running, you want to run to your destination. I mean, you have to cue where you're running to. So like, let's say I'm running here from the Titan. He's over here. Now I'm going to now right when my character is here, we're going to pretend I'm still running. You have to time it just right. I'm going to make the wall behind me. And immediately after making the wall, I'm going to move command one more time. But you have to be very fast. It's probably a lot harder than it sounds. So it's going to be like this. I'm going to be running. Build, move. You run, build, move. Very fast. Build, move. See? That way it should be one fluid motion. Just like that. So, build, move. So your character should do a 180 for one frame. So, build, move. Just like that. Build, move. Just like that. So if you can practice this in single player stuff, I wouldn't recommend doing it in a live game. You might infuriate some of your allies, but that's what it should look like. So now that we have that concept down, how do we apply it? Well, I'm not going to have the Titan chase me, just so I can show you guys in super slow-mo. So here's some common spots around gold. So if you're running over here, there's an exact 2x2 gap over here, but you do not want to block that 2x2 gap because you don't want to kill your teammates. So you want to leave a 1x1. The Titan cannot travel in a 1x1. So you can either build Q. I don't like build queuing because it takes a little longer, or you can run, build run. That's what I usually like to do. There's another spot here you can do. So this is a good area over here. You can get nukes, but the Titan cannot finish you off unless he has a minion to pincer you on the other side. You can also make a wall over here. A lot of sentries make walls over here. They kind of go overboard, but I really don't recommend walling these areas over here because that's just kind of feed. These ones are much more cost efficient. You can wall these ones, but you're using a lot of wood. I wouldn't really recommend it. You can also wall here, leave a 1x1 in between. You can also wall here. However, big disclaimer about when you wall here, if I were to get a lurker or something, or a Titan hunter, he's going to be trapped, so he won't be able to get out. So be careful when walling here. You want to always leave one opening. That way your allies can use their Titan hunters. I've been in too many games where people kind of leave those, so it's a little frustrating. Other common spots, people do this. So people do that. Some people do that for having walls closer. That's fine too. It's all preference. I like having the 2 walls in the back. It's farther, but it costs less wood. That's just me. Some people like to wood way over here. Don't worry about that, doodad. I did that by accident. We're going to pretend he's not there. So, some people like to wood like this. I mean, not wood, wall like this. There is no right or wrong as long as it gets the job done and you're not blocking your teammates. So I've seen too many people where they'll like have some like trash wall where it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not how you do it. So there are many ways to wall. Like there's so many ways. If it works for you, it works for you. As long as you're not trapping your allies and killing them. That's the important part. Let's see, other areas. Let's say the Titan is chasing you here. You can also wall over here. You can wall over here. There is no right or wrong. I'm just showing you some examples. You can wall there. Now you want to go one away from the ramp. You can wall over here. Or even over here. There is no right or wrong answer. Hell, you can even wall over here. You can wall here, there. I'm just walling everywhere. That's just... These might be some pretty common places to the more experienced players, but for those that aren't experienced, they may not know about it. So, you know, just take it with a grain of salt. Another good area, you can wall one under the rock to give you vision, to let you know if Titan's attacking it. So that's a pretty cool area. Other areas, leave a 1x1 here. You can wall that. You can also wall here. That's a good spot. You can also wall here. A lot of High Templars can put their little thing over here. It's a pretty good spot. So there's a lot of walling potential if you look at the minimap. Now here, even though, so this is a weird spot, even though this corner, because of the elevation on the ramp, even though it's red, it's okay to touch it. See? Now be very careful though. If the Titan is here, do not, and I say do not, if the Titan's chasing you, if you're over here and the Titan's chasing you, don't go here. Do not go here, because you can get nuked and possibly autoed and die. You want to have as much elongated distance as possible, so we're going to go straight. And just wall here. You want to not get nuked, because if you're going in a spiral and you're cutting the distance, even though the Titan cannot touch you, he is close enough to wand you. So he can wind wand you, close the distance, auto you, nuke you, possibly kill you, poison you, who knows. Alright, so for this part, I'm going to explain wall walking. Alright, so let's say we're getting gold, and then the Titan is coming. Well, you're going to have to run away from the gold, right? So as you're running away, what typically happens, so let's say we have all these people, and we're running. Well, the problem is, some characters move faster than others. And see how everyone has to go through one lane and they kind of body block each other? So let's say I have Zergling too, yeah. So even though the Zergling has the fastest move speed, he's still capped behind somebody. So what you want to do when you're running away from the gold, now this is known in Starcraft as mineral walking, but in this one it's like tree walking, but it's still mineral. These are mineral fields. So how you do that, if you have any unit that can gather minerals, this also works in 1v1 by the way, or team games, whatever you play. This works in every game of Starcraft, doesn't matter if it's an arcade. If you have a unit that can gather, and there's some kind of resource, a mineral, reskinned, whatever, doesn't matter what it is. So I'll demonstrate what it is. So let's say I'm holding position. Usually what happens, you cannot pass them, but it's not working because I control the units. But anyway, so if there's a different player that holds position on a ramp, you cannot pass them, and then the Titan's going to come up the ramp and kill you. So one way we can get away from that, so you're at the gold, you right click on a tree. Doesn't matter what tree, can be any tree. You right click on a tree, everybody's just going to walk through. Look at that, I just walked through him. Let me try that again. So if I right click on a tree, goes through. If I gather on the gold, goes through. Look at that. See? Does not matter. So this is the safest option, because if you look at the Zergling,
Sure thing.
yeah, so if you look at the Zergling, notice how the Zergling is clipping through all the units. He's just like using no clip. Look at him. The Zergling is passing all the units. That's how you want to do it.
Never paid much attention when I was a kid in school.